T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Coach on Fire Radio.
Hi, and a very warm welcome to my radio show, Let's Talk Relationships and Life. And it really is wonderful to have you with us today. And I'm so excited to introduce my guest in a moment. But first, I wanted to take a minute to talk to you about what you can expect to learn and how you're going to feel so inspired by the shows, which are aired every other Saturday. And my name is Louise Armstrong. And I have a huge passion and drive in life, all about relationships. And this really stems from my own personal transformation. And now I'm so motivated to share my message across the world, as I truly believe we all crave that human loving connection. And you know, it's a funny world we live in where we seemingly have so many ways of connecting with each other, yet so many of us feel totally disconnected. And this is one of the reasons I am driven to bringing people together to start really deepening those connections again so we can feel that sense of belonging. I believe all of us crave to be emotionally loved, and that might be on a romantic, a personal, or through friendships. And if we're unable to make that connection, it's really because we are emotionally wounded ourselves. So self-love is the very first step in healing before we can even look at those emotional connections with others. And so many of us struggle with relationships. And perhaps you're going through a breakup right now. Maybe you're recently divorced, or your partner's had an affair, or you're struggling with your mother or your father, or perhaps your children. Maybe a work colleague has really let you down, or a lifelong friend has just deserted you. Well, this is where we come in to really help you heal your wounds, learn how to love yourself again, and make those emotional connections. I have a wonderful relationship business helping individuals and couples face to face. And now I feel it is the right time for me to give other experts a chance to share their expertise. And this is where the show is going to be of such great value, as I'm going to be introducing to you amazing coaches, therapists, motivators, and public speakers to share with you their expertise and their knowledge. Because life is all about relationships. The better the connection, the better the quality of life. So now it's time for me to introduce my fabulous guest. A very warm welcome, Eric Bensoussan. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's a huge honor and a privilege, and I know you and I have so much in common. This is going to be a fabulous show. It's going to be all of you listeners really want to pay attention to, because Eric has a wonderful story, and he has amazing tips and things that he wants to share with you today. Eric is a transformational relationship coach, and he has a huge passion in understanding how relationships work. And this is from a psychological, emotional, spiritual, and a scientific point of view. And then he uses this knowledge to help people. And the experience he's had of being divorced 3 times has blessed him with some of his greatest life lessons and caused him to look beyond his circumstances to unravel his true personality, and then to choose to powerfully live the life he really wanted to. Eric works with individuals and couples as a transformational relationship coach. And the core of his work is the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you have. Wow, that's just what I do, you know, you and I, peas in a pod. It's just wonderful. But we come from such different backgrounds and everything, but we still have that same drive, and we come from that same, you know, such a similar space, Eric. So it always excites me when we all have such different stories, but, you know, we've got that same like-mindedness to share what we've been through and what we've learned. So I think it's very inspirational when you come from a personal place and you're then able to help others, on a much bigger scale. So tell us, Eric, before we dive in there, how did you get to doing what you're doing? Because my guess is you've not always done this.
No, absolutely. I used to be an entrepreneur for 15 years, until I reached a point in my life where I was just done running after money. I was just done dealing with marketing stuff with my clients, and I was looking for something else. I felt there was a disconnection. And I thought, well, what should I do? What can I do? And, sometimes life gives you opportunities and you just have to take them. So I decided that I would be of service and that I will help people. But I didn't have any idea at that time how it could look like, right? And then very randomly, I just decided to dive into coaching. And when I first started my training about coaching, I didn't really know what was coaching.
No, I know that feeling. Yeah. Was this coaching for you personally?
No, it was just, I decided I'm going to be a coach.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me why it came like that, but I just decided I'm going to be a coach. That's what I want to do. I want to help people. And I was always passionate about relationships because I was struggling with my own relationship, right? So I always wanted to learn more, to have some more insights and to improve myself. So when I started in this coaching business and with my training, I find it so powerful, and I somehow rediscovered a part of myself that I forgot or that I didn't know about. So it was very powerful for me. And at the same time, my experience of divorcing a few times really got me thinking about what is it that I'm here to do? What is it? Why am I experiencing the struggle of relationship in my life? Maybe there is a purpose. Maybe there is something else. And I think, sometimes the universe gives you the lessons you need in order for you to do whatever you have to do. So my 3 divorces are huge blessings for me in my life because I learned so much about myself, so much about relationship. And that's what really got me into what I do today. And I'm very passionate to share my knowledge and to share my insights. And so many people are, you said it in the introduction, so many people are struggling, emotionally. Some people are abused. We feel disconnected. We live in a world which is kind of crazy. And that's true. We are all craving for connection, but we don't really know what it is because we don't learn about relationship and we don't learn how to create healthy connection.
Yeah, that is that in a crux. Absolutely, Eric. And don't you think we spend so much of our lives doing? We are always doing. We've got to create all these physical things in our world to make ourselves feel good. So it's all about doing. But actually, when you really get to know yourself, it's about just being, isn't it? About the actual being of who we are. And I think that really comes as part of that connection is, we are so hooked up on doing. Everybody is so busy. We are all doing stuff. What are we doing? What is all this stuff that we're filling our lives with? And I think when you come to a place of who you actually are, you are a being and you just allow yourself to be. I think you come from a different space. So you're not focusing on the thing that you have to do, that you think is going to give you these feelings that we're all craving.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, we are looking outside for something that we lack inside, but we already have inside whatever we need. It's just a matter of being able and have the ability to access it.
Yeah.
So that's what we learn about through relationship. We learn to access some of our personal power and some of our insights, some of our love, some of our needs, whatever it's inside, we learn how to reconnect with that. And I think that's one of the purpose of life.
So that brings me to, I really want to dive into this because I think it is the most important part of any self-discovery of, any relationship. It is that relationship, the one you have with yourself. So Eric, how do we really focus on this most important relationship and the relationship with self? How do we start?
How do we start? Well, that's a great question. I think we start starting to be our priority. So for some people, when they hear that, they say, well, but it sounds really selfish. But it's not. It's just a matter. We need to reconnect with who we are. And, I read something a few days ago written by Gangaji, which is a spiritual teacher. And she was saying, who you are doesn't exist. It's just a soul.
Okay.
Who you are doesn't exist. Or who you think you are doesn't exist. But it's just a soul that has so much power that at some point we believe that we think we know who we are. And I think one of the purpose of relationship is to rediscover who we are deep down. And because we have been conditioned since we are born, we have been conditioned by our parents, we have been conditioned by the society, by schools, by our teachers, and thriving for things that we have forgotten where we come from. And I think we come from love, we come from joy. And so that's the first disconnection that we experience in our life. And all we do all our life is to try to reconnect with that, is to try to get a sense of who we are. So the thing is, we identify so much with our experience and with our challenges that we think we know who we are. But really life is about discovery. So if you want to discover who you really are deep down, you have to focus on yourself. And the only way to focus on yourself is to be your priority. So when I say being your priority, it's who I am. How do I show up in relationship? Why do I do what I do? Why I have those emotions that I don't know where they're coming from? Why do I have those wants? And when you start being your priority, you start being playful with that, and you start being more observing about what's going on in your life. What is my experience? And maybe one thing that I always say to people, if you want to start focusing on yourself and being your priority, you have to stop identifying yourself with your circumstances and with your experience. Because your experience is just your experience. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define your personality. It's just that you grew up, you have some wants, and those ones will be triggered, and especially in relationship, and especially with people, connecting with people. And all we have to do is to listen to that. So if you focus on yourself, you can listen to that, and you can start to heal. You know what I mean? And of course, it's a process, and I think it's a lifetime process. There is no one-size-fits solution, and everyone is different. So you have to go on your own timing and your own curiosity also. So you have to be curious and you have to be very courageous. Seriously. It takes a lot of courage to go deep down inside and try to look at ourselves like we are in the mirror without judging ourselves, without being harsh on ourselves. It takes a lot of courage. And also facing our wounds takes a lot of courage because it hurts, because it's painful. And if we are not ready to deal with that and heal that, then you just have to wait until you're ready, right?
Yeah, I mean that I think I hear this. I bet you hear this as well, Eric. One of the scariest things people have is looking at themselves, and because they don't know. Well, we never know what we're going to find, but they don't know what they're going to find. And what if they don't like themselves? Do you get asked that question? I get asked that question a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I think most of people don't like themselves. I mean, we just all pretend that we are okay, but we are not okay with who we are, and we are not okay with our experience. So for me, it's really about surrendering and let go about everything. So what you started saying that